to the channel and welcome to today's video. I hope you're doing really well. I can't believe we're here already, but I'm going to do June's budget video update with you today. If you're new here, I do a monthly budget video every single month where I go through all of my incomings, outgoings, expenses, bills, just the whole shebang. Any money that I'm saving towards a specific goal, any money that I want to invest, all of that stuff. And this month, I'm not going to lie to you, I've earned significantly less than I've earned for the last few months. And although in my head I was like, oh, I haven't really, my bills haven't gone up, so that should still be fine. You do somehow get accustomed to having that extra money, and it makes obviously budgeting so much easier when you have more money, because you have more money to play with, obviously. Whereas this month, instead of earning around about the 3,000 mark, I'm earning about 2,400, 2,500, which is more than doable and a very good wage, but it definitely is gonna require a little bit more work in terms of the budgeting and kind of prioritizing where I'm gonna spend money. And I'm also going to share with you the exact spreadsheet that I use every month that I sell over on Etsy. So if you wanna use this exact spreadsheet to help you categorize all your spending, all that kind of stuff, then I'll pop the link down in the description box. But also we're gonna talk about Monzo, which is the app I use to categorize all my spending. Once I've put it into my spreadsheet, I actually physically put that money into different pots on my Monzo account, which I know that regular viewers will know already, but I've got a referral thing where we can both get up to £50 if you sign up to Monzo and start using Monzo the way that I do, or kind of any way. You basically just have to sign up, put a bit of money in there, and then start putting it into different pots and stuff. The free version is what I use, and I think it works really well. I will pop that referral link down below, plus then you can refer your friends. Do you know what I mean? It's not just an influencer thing, it's anyone can do it. So I thought I'd mention it here so we can both get a bit of cash, and then you can refer your friends, get even more money, and then start building up those pots just with referrals, which I thought was a decent way of doing it. Anyway, enough jabbering. I've got my laptop, I've got my notes, and I've got my coffee. Let's go. Okay, I am going to set myself up in the corner. You're going to have the spreadsheet in front of you. Again, if you wanted to see this spreadsheet and download it for yourself, then I will pop the link down in the description box. Honestly, it's changed my life to be able to put all of my budget in and actually stick to it by using Monzo. So I feel like the combination of these two things is what genuinely actually makes me stick to a budget, to be honest. So we're gonna get screen recording and we are gonna go from here. So I've just hit screen record and we're gonna go from here. As you can see, I've still got May up on the left hand side, and the income that I made in May was £2,857.69. That was my take home pay, so that's after all of my tax was paid. So I made a decent amount of money last month. I also got the child benefit and then got the child benefit taken off because I put that straight into the kids' ISAs. I talk about that quite regularly. Basically, that's what I've decided to do with the child benefit. Some people think that's a really great thing to do. Some people think that's a apparently terrible thing to do. But each their own. Do what you need to do. If I had phrased it differently, perhaps people wouldn't have minded as much. But I think it's the phrase benefit that winds people up. But if you're not claiming child benefit and you're eligible for it, I would recommend to do it. I mean, I'm definitely not a financial advisor or anything like that. I'm not saying invest it. I'm not saying do exactly what I do. I know that the way that it's allocated isn't always the fairest. I don't see why you wouldn't claim it, just like any other benefit. If, for example, we didn't use tax-free childcare, because that is a benefit, we would be silly, I think. And if you didn't get the free school meals for the children from reception to year one, that's a benefit that the government are providing us. I think it's silly to not claim things that you're eligible for. However, I understand that a lot of people in households that aren't eligible for it are actually worse off than some families that can claim it. I don't like the way that they work it out, but unfortunately the system is the system, and we're just all people kind of living within it, and we've just got to go with it. Do you know what I mean? So anyway, that's that over. This month, let's talk about how much I earned. So this month, actually, it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be, but my take home after tax is going to be £2,470.62. So that is exactly how much I'm taking home. That's a mixture of salary, dividends, after all my taxes paid, but it is, almost £400 less than I earned last month. And so, the spending's gonna be different, let's be real. Like I said, child benefit, £170.20. That comes straight out, and I pop that into a child ISA for both of my kids. So I just divide it equally for them. I think the 20p kind of hangs around, but everything else is in their ISAs. So after all of that is taken out, it comes back to the £2,470.62. That is my take home. That is what is in my bank account as we speak. And so that's what I've got to play with for the rest of the month. Then scrolling down to expenses, these are all of my living costs to literally survive in this household as a family, and these are joint account costs. So me and my husband put 50-50 of the amount that we need to pay out in bills and things as expenses into a joint account, and then the bills come out from it. So it's basically everything that's a joint expense. So not personal things that we have, but joint things. So think mortgage, food, childcare costs, kids clubs, that kind of thing. Okay, starting off with mortgage, £1,252.32 is what we spend on our mortgage. And every time I have to write that down, it flabbergasts me, I'm not gonna lie. It's very expensive. Interest rates have not been our friend. We were just those unlucky people that had to renew our mortgage at the time that interest rates were at an all-time high. So fantastic for us. When we moved into this house, we spent £850 a month on repaying the same exact amount of capital, actually more capital than we currently have, because we've been overpaying on the mortgage as well, and it's, you know, it's gone up by that amount. Like it's a lot. So we overpay on the mortgage, like I said. We actually overpay £200 combined, so me and my partner both put in 100 each. You can see at the bottom here, the total is like what comes up here, and then my half is going to be here. So my half is what's coming off of my income, if that makes sense. But this is the total amount of our like household bills. We overpay on that mortgage, and we probably should be overpaying more, to be honest, because with the interest rate, this amount, the overpayments, goes towards the capital only, not just the interest, because we're paying a lot of this is just interest and not coming off the capital of what we actually owe on the house. So that's why we try and do it. But you know, £200 is what the bare minimum for us is at the moment, and we should probably be looking at doing more. Anyway, food and groceries, we're going to put 400. We are away for a week this month, so I'm hoping it's not going to be the full 400 on food shopping, but we're going to keep it there because you know what it's like when you go away. Sometimes maybe I tend to get like a Hello Fresh for when we come back. Water, our water bill is £58, which I still feel is like really high. I see that in the comments all the time when I do these videos. £58 seems like quite a lot of money, but is what it is. However, I make up for it in the gas and electric, because our gas and electric at the moment is only £100. We have a surplus in our account at the moment, which means we were putting in £200 to the account, but we weren't using the full 200, so we've got extra cash in there. Home insurance is £32.86. Life insurance, £27.52. We've got very, very, you know, small cover on life insurance. We've got the cover for the mortgage, and that's about it for both of us. We don't have critical illness, we have terminal illness, we don't have critical illness. It is something I want to look into. We looked into it, it's very expensive, and we kind of haven't pressed go on anything, but at some point we do want to increase our cover, because, you know, especially the fact that I'm self-employed, it's probably sensible. But anyway, we'll get to that point at some point, I'm sure. £30, well, not £309, £30 for internet. TV licence is £15. Council tax, £173.36. Childcare for my son, he is 4, and his actual nursery bill is £339.50. However, we get the tax-free childcare, which is what I was saying before, so £275 is what we contribute to that. We pop that in the childcare account, and then the government top you up by 20%, so happy days. Hallie, my daughter, is £381.33 for her actual childcare bill. Again, we get the top up, so we put in £310 to the account, and then the government top up by that £78 or £71, whatever it is. So that is what we do. I'm sure a lot of you will be doing the same thing. A lot of working parents are eligible for the tax-free childcare. If you're not claiming it, look into it. I promise you, it is worth it. Office 365 that I don't even use, but I always forget to mention that we should probably cancel it. We haven't cancelled it, and it's not on my account or anything. £10.49 for that. Spotify, which I use every single day, £16.99 for the family account. Ring doorbell at £7.99 for a couple of Ring cameras that we've got around the house. Swimming lessons for my son is £56, and then tumble tots for my daughter is about £55, which is like every 6 weeks. It works out to that, so we put it in every 4 weeks, and then by the time it comes around, we've got enough money in the account. Amazon Subscribe and Save is for all things toiletries and kitchen kind of like householdy bits. I do that all on a Subscribe and Save because it works out so much cheaper. You get it in bulk, and you don't have to get it on the weekly food shop. So £30 a month for all of that kind of stuff. Holland and Barrett Subscribe and Save, which is all the kids' gummies and vitamins and stuff like that. £16.09, free delivery, love that. $5.99 for Netflix, which is the lowest of tiers of Netflix. Mate, it's got a couple of adverts. I mean, I'm not complaining. $5.99 is better than like $27.99 that my mum was paying before, so we've gone for that. And then dog food at £35 a month. That is for a Pets at Home subscription. You save like 15%, 10%, I can't remember. A percentage you save and it gets delivered to your door. You don't have to be lugging massive crates of dog food back and forth from the car with the kids. It's just a lot easier. So here we go. This is the joint cost living expenses, everything included. The total is £3,107.61. And then my half of that is £1,553.81. So that is everything that I'm basically, my like direct debit goes straight out of my account, which holds this money, straight into the joint account, and then that is just taken care of. All the bills are just coming out of that. Happy days. Scrolling down to personal expenses, these are bills that come out of my current account, and I don't have many. The things that do come out are my car tax, which is £17 a month, and then my gym classes, which are £38 a month. And so in total, £55 comes out of my current account as a bill, as a direct debit, something that's going to come out no matter what. So £55 I have to make sure that I have in my current account. And then this is where I do things differently to a lot of other people. I don't then just keep all of my leftover money. You can see if I scroll down, I've got £861 still, that if I didn't do anything with, and say I still budgeted it and said I'm going to do everything, that would all just be hanging around in one account, and I don't like doing that. But here's what I do. Okay, so the first section is spending money, and this is the money, like I said, I transfer into my Monzo account, and then I have all these separate pots, like physical separate pots on this app that I transfer each amount of money into, so that when I'm going to do that thing, so for example, say I'm on a day out with the kids, I know that I've got X amount of money for the month for days out with the kids. And if I'm going on a day out with kids, I'm thinking in my head, right, I'm going to spend 20 quid on today. I'm going to spend 50 quid on today. I'm going to spend, you know, a fiver on today. Like, depends on the activity that we're doing, right? Say we're going to the park, I don't need to spend money. Say we're going to soft play, I probably do need to spend money. You know, so I'm just going to transfer some of that money out of the pot into my main Monzo card, or you can link pots to the card. I don't even do that though, because I find, for me personally, I like there being a buffer between being able to just tap, 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 spend the money. Because if I tap, 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 spend the money, I'll spend the money, do you know what I mean? Whereas if there's a barrier and I have to go into the app and I have to quickly transfer it, I like that because it makes me think about spending before I spend. And I feel like that's kind of healthy, because otherwise if it's too easy, it's too easy, and then do spend it. Anyway, we've got spending pots, we've also got savings pots, and they're separate on my Monzo as well, and we'll talk about that when we get down to savings. But first off, we're going spending money. I don't have too much spending money this month. Usually, I'm looking at about £500 on the spending money section. I'm going to try and keep this to 350. So, not too much, do you know what I mean? I can still have a lovely time with the £350 in the month, but petrol takes up 150 of that. Just getting the kids to and from, going to activities, obviously getting to nursery, going around town, going to different places on days out and things like that. £150 is what I spend on fuel, and that's pretty much every month. Every now and then I'll spend slightly less, but I like to budget. You need petrol, don't you? You need fuel. Home improvements, to be honest, there's not a whole lot that I can do with the amount of money that I've got available this month. I'm going to put like £20. I might come back to that. I'm going to put like £20 just in case, like, we want to get a pot of paint, because we do want to improve the house a bit. I want to get a mirror, I want it for the living room, I want to get some stuff, and I've got some money in my home improvements pot on Monzo already that I haven't spent, so this can go towards that. At the end of the day, if you save up little by little, it will get there eventually, so that's what I'm going to do. Parking, £5, because I don't have a particular place that we're going that I think I'm going to have to spend parking on. But you never know, when you get to like a random like town centre and you've got to spend like quid, you know, £5 on parking is kind of just like every town centre ever, right? And so having a little bit of cash just in that is just quite helpful for those days, you know, when you don't want to dip into a different pot or whatever. Public transport is going to be at 0. We're not getting any public transport this month. There's nothing that we're going on the train or the bus to do, so we are scrapping that this month. Days out with the kids, I'm going to put 75 because £75 is quite generous for the things that I do with my kids. My kids are really young and they don't need a lot of money spent on days out. They just really don't. Like, we take a packed lunch everywhere we go. We've already bought like annual passes to quite a lot of stuff, so we go and do that quite regularly. Like I said, we're going on holiday anyway, so that's like a whole week out of doing actual activities with the kids. So, and they also do clubs and things. So £75 is quite generous, I think. And then also when we go out with my husband, you know, he has also got a budget for days out, for food and things like that. So I'm pretty happy with that as an amount. I'm going to put £20 for clothes. There's nothing in my mind right now that the kids need or I need, but there's always going to be something because there's just always something, right? So let's just put 20 just to be safe. 30 for eating out and takeaways. That is basically like when I pop to like Lidl to get something from the bakery, or maybe a Greggs or a McDonald's. It's not like proper eating out. If we were to get a takeaway, my husband usually gets the one takeaway we get at the beginning of the month, and then I normally get the bits and bobs like for the kid if we're just out, you know, and they just want cookie or something, you know, that kind of stuff. Hair and nails is going to be 0 and 0. I've got some money in my hair fund from last month that I've like been saving up towards. It's £40 when I get my hair cut, and I normally just put like £20 into the pot each month and get it done every 6 weeks or every 8 weeks. So we don't need any money for that, thank God. We're already up to £300 here. I'm going to put £30 on the beauty subscriptions because I do have a couple of subscriptions. I do a Skin & Me subscription, which is for my skincare, and then I also do an Estridge subscription, which is for razors, and I love them. I really, really love them, and I think I probably spend about the same amount of money, if not more, on getting those things independently, and they come delivered to my door, and I think they're probably better than anything that I got from the shops previously. So let's just go for that. Date night, diving is going to happen. Let's not be like, I'm not going to beat around the bush. I'm not paying for date night this month because it's just not going to happen. £330 for my spending money though is where we've got to. And this money, £330, transfer that straight into my Monzo account, and then I will divide this up exactly like I have here, and those pots are solid. If something bad happens and I, you know, really need to use that £20 for the clothes fund, I'll just be like, right, I won't get any clothes this month, that's fine. But that's kind of how I work it. And you can transfer them over between different pots, but I try not to. I really, really try not to. And yeah, that's how I roll. Then let's talk savings. I scroll down here and these are the savings pots I've got. And these are probably more like sinking funds for me. And again, this money goes into my Monzo account as well. So it'll be the 330 we spoke about in the spending money, and then whatever I also have at this total. It's a non-negotiable for me now. It's built into my like daily thing or monthly budget to save towards things. And they're not like savings for like, you know, really long periods of time. It's actually just saving towards things that I'm gonna have to spend money on anyway. And so an emergency fund is something that we should all have. Realistically, it should be like a couple months worth of wages or 3 or 4 months worth of wages. Mine isn't. I'm working towards it, but I'm gonna go. Oh, am I going to go 100? No, I'm going to go £50 towards my emergency fund. I've got some like savings and stuff if an emergency really did happen, but you know, I'm working that up and I haven't dipped into it in ages. But yeah, that emergency fund for me is vital for if something, you know, dramatic happened. Like say our tumble dryer broke, our washing machine broke, and our window smashed in the same week. I would be able to sort that out without getting a loan, and that's the position that I want to be in. The position I really want to be in is probably having like a few grand saved just in case I do make, you know, less money one month and I can top myself up. That's the position I'm trying to get myself into, but it's all a work in progress and we are getting there. Car maintenance, again, for MOT, service, all of that kind of stuff, I'm going to put £30 towards it. I've just had my car MOT and service, so 30 quid a month. I'm just going to keep that rolling, and hopefully by the time it comes around next year, I'll have some money at least towards doing those things. For car insurance, I've actually got enough money in my car insurance pot to buy that as an annual thing when that comes around, so I don't need to put any money in my car insurance, thankfully. For birthdays, we've got birthdays coming up, so I would like to put about £100 into the birthday pot. Holidays, we are going on holiday next week, very, very soon, and I've put enough money into my holiday fund to have spending money, stuff at the airport, all of that kind of stuff, travel, all that. So we don't need to put any money into the holidays fund. Next month I'll start it back up for when we want to go camping or do something else. But we're going on a abroad holiday and we've saved up enough money for that, so I don't need to contribute towards it today, thankfully. Christmas 2025, I always try and put £100 in every month, and that means from January to December I put in £100 in a month, so that when it gets to December, I have absolutely no worries financially in terms of, you know, doing all the things, like all the activities, going on, you know, maybe if there's work dues or evenings out or dinners or family over, hosting, going on like, you know, activities with the kids, also all the Christmas presents, also all the food and the booze and everything else that you're going to spend. It adds up so quickly, and although £100 a month, £1,200 sounds like an insane amount of money to spend on a Christmas, like, that's not just presents, that is the whole shebang, that's the whole month of December sorted. And so that's just the position that I really want to be in. £100 a month is doable. Even if I saved £50, even if I saved £20 a month, it would have helped. And so it's the idea of doing it rather than the amount you save. It's the like process of like putting away 30 quid a month adds up quick if you do it every single month consistently. So if you actually physically put the money into a pot, this is where Monzo comes in. It changed the game for me, and like I say, not just when I've been able to do £100, like when I was doing £30, it massively helped me, and I saw like that money build up, and I was like, oh, okay, this is the way to do it. So in total, my savings this month is £280. 280 plus 330 is what, 610? So 610 is what I'm going to transfer into my Monzo account, and then we're going to divvy up all that money exactly as I've allocated it here, and those pots are going to stay still. The savings pots are separate to the spending pots. Spending pots have immediate access. You don't lock them away, you don't earn interest on them, they are just literal pots just helping you budget your money. Whereas the savings pots, some of them can earn you up to like 4%, 5% interest. I think mine, to be honest, are about 4% at the moment. Some of them, like the emergency fund, have instant access, which is obviously great because if there is an emergency, you need instant access to your money. But then other ones that I've set them up with like a day or two's buffer, because again, it's the buffer that I quite like to stop me from dipping into money and using it on things that aren't necessarily the thing that I wanted to use the money for. Do you know what I mean? It's the buffer for me. So for the Christmas fund, for example, I would need 2 working days to get that money out of the account. And so I can't just dip into it just to get the money quickly. I have to really think about that and go, right, do I really want to dip that money out? Do I really need to do this? And then can I figure out another way of doing it? So for me, that's what I quite like. So yeah, total 610 going into my Monzo account. Got pots in there already, and I've also got some money in those pots already. Hence why I'm able to like put much less into the spending pots, for example, because there's already money in there that I didn't spend last month, which is a great position to be in. So I'm really grateful for that. Then let's talk investments. So my investments are basically like longer term savings pots. For me, that's how I'm viewing them. I have got specific things in mind that I'm going to spend the money on, but they are longer term, so I'd like to try and get a return on my investment more so than you would in a savings account, basically. So these don't go into Monzo, this goes into a investment portfolio, and the things that I'm looking at spending this money on are things like a moving fund to move house one day. We are so all over the place with what we're deciding to do with that. So at the moment, it's kind of like when, where, what, if. Like there's a lot of questions around this moving fund. This moving fund could either be moving fund or renovation fund. That's the kind of position that we're in at the moment. But let's just keep it named as moving fund because I'm still on team list it, if I'm honest. But anyway, moving fund, I'm going to put £50 in. Oh no, I'm going to put £100 into moving fund. Again, not a lot of money, but I've been doing that for a long time, and so it's building up, and it is building up slowly but surely. Do you know what I mean? I could be putting more into that and not be going towards a new car fund or a Japan 2030 fund, which is like a trip in 5 years. But I want to do those things as well, and I don't want to have to get into debt for any of these things. So if it means waiting a little bit longer for all of those things to happen, so be it. I'd rather wait and do it myself than owe money, pay loads of interest and feel the stress of having to pay back stuff. That's what I don't like. This is all optional for me right now. I don't have to do this. I don't have to pay off a car. I don't have to pay, you know, this trip off that I've booked because I haven't booked it. You know, for me, my whole thing is save up the money for something that you are wanting to get, rather than get the thing and then pay it off with a load of interest and a load of stress and pressure. Because I've been in that position like a million times, and it's awful. It's awful, and I'm sure loads of you have debt and, you know, are in positions where we have to pay back a certain amount, the minimum pay. You know, it's just don't like it. Doesn't sit well with me. So let's just do it this way instead. New car fund, I'm gonna put 50 quid. And then Japan 2030, 50 quid as well. Again, I've been doing the Japan 2031 for a while, and we've been doing the new car fund, and we've been doing the moving fund. That's sort of where we are with it. So that's 200 in total. That goes into investments, and then basically either the money grows or it falls, or it grows. Over the course of 5 to 10 years, that money is likely, not guaranteed, likely to grow, but that's how we are. Like, again, these are all things that are optional. If my car broke, like, it would be more of a necessity, but I'm already saving towards it, so it kind of like, I'm preempting the fact that I'm gonna one day have to get a new car. And then with all of that sorted, the total remaining is actually £51.82. I actually thought I'd be in the minus by now, but we've got £51.82 to play with. So the £51 is what would be left in my current account after the joint costs go into the joint account, my personal expenses go as direct debits out, and then the money, the 610 with the spending money and savings combined, go in to my Monzo account, and then my investments go into my investment account. That would leave me with £51.82 in my current account, which is always nice to have some money to play with, but to be honest, I quite like allocating every single penny. Like, genuinely to the point where I have like £1 in my account. So I might just have a quick look at my spending money, because, or maybe just save it a bit more. Maybe we should do that. Maybe we should save it. Maybe we should just put £100 in the emergency fund and be very sensible this month, and be left with £1.82. Should we do that? Yeah, let's do that. Let's be sensible. We're gonna have a lovely holiday. I've got a load of spending money in that holiday pot. If that holiday pot doesn't get spent, then I will use that towards a next month treat, or maybe a camping trip where we get some nice food or something like that. That's the plan for the next few months, is to go on a couple of camping trips around the UK when the weather perks up. But yeah, that's exactly where my £2,470 went this month, and that's hopefully what is going to happen. I'm getting pretty good at sticking to budgets on things, and if I don't, I only tweak it slightly, and to be honest, a lot of the time I have money left over at the end of the month. And I guarantee you, if you used a budget spreadsheet like this and a Monzo account and actually just religiously did it, it would work. It would work for you. Even when I earned way less than this, like £2,000 a month, even before that when I was on 1,800, even before that when I was on 1,200, when you use a system and actually do it and like commit yourself to it, it works. You know, some months tighter than others, let's be real, and living beyond your means is a big problem. Like, I've done it, we've all done it, we've all got stuff on finance, we've all, you know, been in debt and had credit cards, and, you know, maybe got the rent's too high, really, on like what you can actually afford, like, to live. On paper you might be able to do, but can you actually do it in real life and like still have a fun, you know, nice life in 2025 when everything costs so much? Maybe not. And let's be real, at the moment it's not just like choices that we're making that are making living hard. It's especially when wages aren't going up and rent's going up, or your you know, your mortgage rates are going up, and you're just in this position where you're just like, okay, so childcare's this much, mortgage is this much, I earn this much, how is this happening? Like, how? And so I think budgeting now is more important than ever. I really hope you found this video helpful. Let me know down in the comments what kind of budget videos you'd like to see, or if you just like these monthly ones. I really do, and I said this last month, I'm so sorry, I really do want to do one of your budgets. I want to do one of your budgets that potentially earn, you know, 25k a year, or maybe even on universal credit and struggling. I'd really love to be able to do a video like that, because I don't think it would just help the person, but I think it would also help like loads of people watching, even if it's just a couple of you, just to go through like a bit more of a realistic one for you, because I totally get everyone's position is different, and we've got to like figure out how to apply these things to myself, and actually seeing it written down might help. It's just been wild this month. I really, really, really want to do it though. So if you would like me to try and do that, then please let me know down in the comments. And maybe leave your Instagram handle and then I can maybe message you on Instagram. But for now guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I'm gonna love you and leave you, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys.
'Cause you glue all the pieces back together. Yeah, you take all my wrongs and make them better. Yeah, you're making me wanna try forever. And I feel so free, oh my sweet baby.